Morning, everyone. Today's Thursday, January 18th, and today I'm going to cover the YieldMax trades and cover their holdings for tickers TSLY and CONY. So first, let's take a look at TSLY. What you see on the screen, this is the intraday trades from January 17th, which is yesterday, if you're watching on January 18th, obviously. And there were no weekly calls done, but what you see here is you see a movement in the synthetic position. So the current synthetic position, or I'll say the old synthetic position that expires this Friday, which is now tomorrow, is 250, and that's the top two. So they closed that out. They sold the call, and they did a BC, buy to close the put, and they lost a lot of money on that. Then they opened a new position, which is at the 220 range. Again, same amount of contracts. So the buy call was cheaper than the sell put, but that just tells you that the Tesla stock is below the strike price of the new synthetic position. All right, so let's get to the spreadsheet. So here's the synthetic 250, and you'll see, okay, I added the January 17th. The closeout of another 12,815. If you remember from yesterday's video, it's sort of like they're doing this in pieces, which I thought was pretty cool. But in this scenario, it actually was not a good move, because yesterday, if you look, when they close out the synthetic position, the real part you have to look at is the put. So yesterday on the 16th, they paid $28.98 to close out, each put. But the day before, January 16th, it was $28.98. And then yesterday, January 17th, it was $37.46. So big change. If you look, they actually did the same amount of contracts. So it essentially cost them $11 million more. But, it's not their fault. They didn't know Tesla was going to go down yesterday. I don't even know why it went down. Like, it went down, 2-3%? Like, ridiculous. But it went down. So, and they did not close out all the contracts. There's still another 12,820. So again, at least my opinion is it's still a smart strategy, because they're basically saying they can't time what's going to happen, which, okay, neither can we. All right, so if they closed, I'm not even going to talk about the green. That's basically it's going to cost them $44 million to close out the remainder based on the current price. But we know that we're going to lose out on the synthetic. Very unfortunate. And you see that, again, this synthetic was 250, Tesla price is 215. So yeah. So the January profits, massive debit, 81 million. Let's move on to the 220 synthetic. So from the 16th, you saw we added the original 12,815 contracts, and then we had additional 315. And then yesterday we added another 12,815. So if you look, since the Tesla price continued to go down, the buy call was much cheaper. So on the flip side, you saw the 11 million, hit yesterday for the closeout. But on the flip side, look at our buy call. The day before, it cost us 18 per share. But yesterday, it cost us 13 per share. So, pretty good. And then on the put, guess what? The day before, we only got $15 credit. And then yesterday, we got $18.90 credit. So, we made money essentially opening the new portion of the synthetic. So now this synthetic holds 25,945 contracts. I'm not going to talk about how much it is to close out, but this one expires March 15th. Which, by the way, I just wanted to mention, their prospectus says their synthetics will expire 6 months to 1 year out. So I really am not sure why they're only going 2 months out. CONY's even worse. I'll show you that in a second, but why bother? I mean, it's as if they're now involving the synthetic as their normal profit machine. Essentially, if they do a 6 month to 1 year out synthetic position, then they only have to focus with the weekly calls. That would make their life easier, and that could be their primary focus. make my life easier, honestly, too, if they cared. Anyway, so yeah, the Tesla price, we went over that. January profits, we're looking at 3.1 million that we made, but again, that's because the put credit was in our favor, since Tesla, is below the current strike price of the new synthetic. Hopefully, that makes sense. All right, let's go to the January tab. So yesterday, as mentioned, it was a rough day. I said the day before, I said it was a good day, and it was. We gained like 0.5%, and then of course the day after we lost 1.66% on Tesla. Tesla went down 1.98%. Why? Again, I don't know. You guys probably know, but no trades, so that's why that the row is blank. Someone commented yesterday, could you just scroll up a little so that we can see the prior contracts, to see what they did look like? So I will try to put that in the picture. The reason I never do is I don't want to confuse you guys. So yeah, these are still the open contracts, which I'll cover in the active tab. But you could see the percent out of the money that is locked in. So that's what they do, 2 to 3% out of the money, which again, you know how I feel about that. Cash and treasuries, let's take a look. 22 million in cash, 400 million treasuries, 467. I mean, in summary, I know nobody really cares about this. It went down 84.9 million. So a lot of it was to cover the synthetic, but the day before it didn't go down. So I don't know if they covered the synthetic from 2 days in one day. I don't know. It's confusing because yesterday they took a massive hit in the synthetic, so I would have expected that to be in yesterday's. But either way, they did also lose outstanding shares, so people are starting to sell out of TSLY, at least for now, because, they're being fearful. They see it go down and they just see themselves losing more money. But again, that's, to me, an overreaction. Outstanding shares, we're looking at 83.2 million. Okay. Total income for the month, 17.5 million. Total distribution based on weekly income, 21 cents, which comes out to 2 cents a day or 0.23% yield, which is really good. Again, the weekly calls, they are killing it. So where do we stand going into tomorrow? Well, we stand pretty good. We have 2 trading days, and our lowest contract is 4.38% out of the money. So let's root for Tesla, the next 2 days. We have 19,140 contracts with a 225 strike. Again, 4.38% out of the money. We have a measly 315 contracts with a 227.50 strike. That's 5.54% out of the money. And then we have 19,145 contracts, 233.33 strike, 8.25% out of the money. Again, this is their biggest position too, so that's pretty good. Turn the heater off. And then we have 165 contracts with a 240 strike, 11.34% out of the money. So needless to say, we are sitting pretty. Our IV is almost hitting 50. Okay, that's good too, 49.48%. Tesla, again, their price is 215. 30-day chart is meh. Next week, they have earnings. It's very scary because I believe everyone keeps saying historically whether their earnings are good or bad. In most cases, it does dip. So I'm just, maybe yesterday's price action was in preparation of the earnings. Who knows? All right, possible gains with the current calls. We're looking at possible 64 cents. So if Tesla goes up a lot, we could gain 64 cents in, the price, which right now it's 10.08. My reaction is, I'm just kind of like stunned that Tesla is still going down. I'm waiting for the turnaround, but it's just not happening. I am happy with the weekly calls, so don't, get confused with this face. This face is just for the price of Tesla and what's been going on. And I know there's a lot of others that they're not happy. They're not happy with the production of Tesla. And, over the years, some of it was some bad calls, but as of late, it's basically the fault of Tesla. Because again, we follow the underlying. So if the underlying goes down, here we go. We're going with it. So there's nothing we could do. When it starts recovering, okay, then we'll talk about a recovery strategy and whether they're, properly preparing for that. But anyway, let's go to the payment tab. Synthetic income for January, again, massive debit, 78 million. Short call income, not enough to cover. That's only $17 million credit. So this month, we're looking at a $60.9 million loss. That's only going to get worse because they have to close out the remaining synthetic position, which probably today or tomorrow, hopefully not today because I have baseball. My son has baseball tonight, but we'll see. Total income per share, again, that's a debit. But if you look at the short call income per share, we're looking at 21 cents. I'm not sure how that color purple comes out in the video, but right, it kind of looks dark to me. I should probably change it. Debit carry forward, well, again, that's irrelevant. So yeah, so that's where we stand for TSLY. Here's CONY. And they did some stuff yesterday. Here we go. Again, very busy day. So top two, if you look at, you see the 165 under the ticker, within that bunch of numbers, that's the strike. That's the high strike. That's the synthetic. So they closed out what looks to be a portion of the synthetic, the 165 synthetic. And then they used those 10,720 contracts for a new synthetic position of 130, which again is at the money of the current coin price. And then down below that, they closed a weekly call, which only cost them 3 cents, so that's a win. And then they opened a new position with 10,400 contracts to make it even more confusing. Because typically you would see the 3,060, but they had some extra to use. So, but anyway, we'll get into that. Maybe they're trying to confuse us. All right, so let's look at the synthetic 165. So again, they closed out 10,720 contracts, and yeah, it cost them a pretty penny. It cost them about $35 million, more than that. And, we took a hit. So they still have 11,260 contracts to close. Again, since the strike price of this synthetic is above the price of coin, it's going to cost, we're not going to make money. If the price of coin was above the strike of the synthetic, we would be making money. January profits, not so much. We're looking at a $29.3 million debit. And again, it's going to get worse. Right now, we're looking at 34 more million to add to that. But let's look at our new synthetic position. So our new synthetic is $130 strike. So they did a buy call, which they paid $13.50 per share, and then a sell put $10.70. So that, it just shows you, it's at the money, right? Because typically, the put, you're not going to get more on the put than you are on the call. Typically, you're going to pay more on the call. So that's why it cost us, about $3 million to start the position. So we also have a debit position in this synthetic. But again, this synthetic being at the money of 130, it's low for coin because coin has been dropping. So you would expect in time it's going to go up and we would make money on it. However, as mentioned on the when I was covering the TSLY sheet, look at the expiration. 1 month out, what are they doing? Like, why are they doing a 1 month out synthetic? What is the purpose of that? I don't understand. If the prospectus, which maybe they revised it and I just didn't see it. By the way, if you guys have seen a revised prospectus, let me know. If you're in my Discord, please send it there, or just let me know in the comments if you could put the link. I don't see it because I know they were revising the weekly call percentage to 0 to 15. So maybe they revised the wording on the synthetic, because right now what I'm reading is 6 months to a year out, and this is 1 month out. Like, what the hell? Anyway, enough about this stupid synthetic. Let's move on. How did the price go yesterday? Again, yesterday, January 17th, in the end, actually, CONY was up 0.58%, and coin was essentially flat. How does that happen? Well, they made premium. So if you look, they, they did close out the 3,060, 3 cents. So that was a killer profit, $1.2 million profit. So bravo. And then they opened this new position here, 10,400 contracts. They made 239 per share, and that's a strike of 143. I'm not sure how I feel about this one because this one expires next week, which means, guess what? 2 trading days this week, 5 trading days next week. So that's 7 trading days, and you're only 6.83% out of the money. I mean, that's not like CONY. It's also interesting to me that yesterday they were able to get 248 per share for a 142 strike that expires Friday. So I don't know how they got a higher amount yesterday and a lower again. Maybe it was the timing that they did it. Maybe it was when coin was down. I'm guessing because coin was down yesterday. It was down a pretty penny. So the timing was just not good. So it was probably, 2 things. This percentage out of the money was probably around 10% maybe. And then also that's why the premium's lower, which sucks, of course. But anyway, they got 2.4 million. So now, that's adding. I know running total shows 20 million, but for income, you have to look at sell K1. That's $12.2 million. They also had a massive hit on cash and treasuries, 41 million. But again, they're closing out the synthetic, so that's going to do some damage there, right? That money has to come from somewhere, and it's coming from cash. So outstanding shares, unfortunately, it went down. It's now at 13.9 million. Again, we covered total income, 12.2 million. Distribution, we're looking at 88 cents. Daily income, we're looking at 10 cents a day. And daily yield, 0.47%. So when it comes to the weekly calls, just like TSLY, CONY is knocking it out of the park. They may get burned on that 6% out of the money. We'll see. So what do we got going on the rest of the week? Well, we have 21,660 contracts being used, right? Let's see how many they have. I added that down here. All right, so they have 21,980 synthetic positions. So that means they have 320 additional contracts available to play with. So they did not use all their contracts yesterday. So anyway, 11,260 contracts. This one expires Friday, tomorrow. 6% out of the money. This one is in good standing. 10,400 contracts. This is the new one that they just did. Only $1 more strike, 143 strike, 6.83% out of the money into next week. So if coin decides to blow up the remainder of this week and into next week, this could get blown out of the water, this position right here. So let's hope coin has a slow recovery. But look at the IV. It's unlikely it's going to have a slow recovery because when a stock has an IV like this, it's really, it's out of control. So 30-day IV, 78%, which is pretty solid. 30-day chart looks like shit now. Earnings next month, who cares? But CONY price still in the 20s, 20.91. I'm showing a possible gain of 69 cents going through the rest of this week. And again, I just got a little kind of like a sad face because it's been a rough, Well, number one, I don't like that call into next week. Number two, coin has just had a rough. Coin, at least it stayed flat yesterday. But yeah, it's been a rough few weeks. But they're killing on the weekly calls, so smiley face for that. All right, so here's the January tracker. Again, $32.3 million debit. Where does that come from? That comes from the January debit from the 165 synthetic. And it also comes from the January debit from the 130 synthetic. So add those two together, that's 32.3 million. I have a formula locked in here. Short call income, 12.2 million. Net income total, debit, blah, right? Outstanding shares, yeah, we talked about that. Again, total income, we're in a debit position. So no payment based on total income. However, when they're in the hole like this for the month, my guess is they'll go to the weekly income. So the weekly income, we're looking at 88 cents as of now. We should clear $1 before, the payout. Again, I'm predicting around $1.50. we'll see what these numbers look like. But right now, $2 is just completely out of reach. Unless somehow coin blows up and we make money on the synthetic, who knows? But right now, I would not get too excited about a $2 payout for CONY. Let's get our expectations a little lower in the $1.50 range. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for fun and entertainment. But yeah, please do your own research. Don't listen to people on YouTube, for real. But one thing I also wanted to look at is, here's the outstanding holdings, which, it's insane to look at. I just wanted to check out the pre-market for Tesla. Last time I checked, I believe it was green. So let's hope it's still green. Okay, yeah, so 1.37% up. That's pretty high for pre-market, so that's a really good thing. Maybe, it's the market saying, okay, yesterday's sell-off was pointless. Let's buy it back. How about coin? Let's look at coin. We'll do a nice refresh. Again, this is marketwatch.com I use. It's just pretty easy for me. Pre-market, it's up 0.55%. So, if we have, hopefully it stays like this, we have a solid green day. We don't need any drastic jumps, but with Tesla, we can afford a drastic jump. With coin, not so much now with the new strike, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, anyway, that's all I got. Time to go to work. If you guys enjoy this content, as always, just hit that like button so I know. If you have any questions or concerns about, what I just spoke about, leave it in the comments. If you hate TSLY and CONY, I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments. I know, yeah, it's going to zero, right? That's what everyone loves to say. But at least you're watching my video, I guess. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're just clicking on it and then commenting. But whatever. If you guys, let me know what you think of the latest strike of coin. Are you worried? Or do you think it will be okay? Because coin is not, even close to recovery mode yet. As far as TSLY strikes, let me know what you think about that. I mean, I feel pretty damn good about them, but let me know. We'll see what they do into next week, though. They could screw it up, but time will tell. Anyway, like I said, I got to go. Have a great day, everyone. Later.